everyone. So this is a continuation of The Rivals. If you have not seen the very first one of my series, it's called CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. It's a good video. Okay, let's continue. Now, this is part of the best era of the WWF. It's called the Attitude Era, okay? Now, first guy I want to discuss is Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Rattlesnake, the Hall of Famer. Now, his biggest rival is, from my point of view, The Rock, the Abominable, the People Champion, and future Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. Now, these two guys have a lot of great history in the ring, outside the ring, and all that good stuff. But first, they met, I am just taking a wild guess, a few on Raw way back in the early 90s. Or is it late 90s? Yeah, late 90s, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember this great history in the making back in the day. But anyway, they had the old school Raw. I am not talking about when they did it back in 2010, the old school Raw. You know, the big jumbo screen and no pyro very much. You guys know what I'm saying. But anyway, The Rock was part of the Nation, a domination like this. Then Austin was on a jumbo screen, you know, talking to The Rock, you know, that way, you know, talking trash, you know what I'm saying, you know how The Rock was doing back in the day, you know, of course he was heel. Then, I'm trying to remember, it's been so many moons ago. Then, The Rock says to the Austin and blah blah blah, you know, all that bullcrap. Then, Austin, he had the Intercontinental Championship in his hand, he threw it in the riverbank, and The Rock eyes just bug out like a bug, you know. And it was a awesome story. Of course, The Rock came out and just beat the crap out of him. I think that's how it went, but it was very cool. And I don't know, I'm trying to remember. Then another time, The Rock got payback. He threw over Austin over the riverbank, and then I think the next thing on Raw, Austin, I'm going to rephrase that. Yeah, The Rock had a little ceremony, you know, at the gravesite. It was very cool, and Austin came with a 4x4. It was very cool. He destroyed at the time it was Undertaker's hearse. Very cool. And then of course they met at WrestleMania 15 for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Of course, it was Austin's homemade belt. Is, you know, a lot of great history. And they met at Backlash a few times. The time I liked was Backlash 2000, because that's when Austin came back from, I think, injury, and he just went to hell, you know. He knocked the McMahon family out with the chair and stunned everyone and say, "Stunner! Stunner! Stunner!" And they met a few times at Mania. I think the overall series, I think it was 2-1 Austin. I think, because in 03, The Rock finally got the win over Austin, because Austin was undefeated at Mania. See, you know, great rivalries. Hopefully, WWE make like a rival. These two great athletes they did with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, like a little interview, and Jim Ross would interview him. I think that's in the works. I'm not really too sure, but I really love this rivalry in the Attitude Era. But it was fantastic, marvelous, epic. They had a lot of great history. But when The Rock left the domination, he just skyrocketed, and now they're making movies. Now the only thing Austin is doing lately is making movies, but it's not going to theaters. It's strictly going to home video, on DVD version or the Blu-ray version. Now The Rock recently made a new movie I forgot what it's called. It's a sequel, but I forgot the name of it. I think Witch Mountain, I think. But it's kind of weird with Austin. He makes movies and then just strictly go to DVD and Blu-ray version. Now the last time Austin was in the movie, for WWE, it was Condemned. And it was a blockbuster movie. It was fantastic. Of course, I got it to add to my DVD collection, but it was terrific. Now the last movie The Rock made, I don't know if it's from WWE Films, but I don't know when it was The Rock last movie from WWE Films. I don't know if you could look that up for me, everyone. So I don't know, it was awesome. Now what do you guys think? Who's a better actor? The Rock? I'm sorry, Austin or The Rock? I don't know, but The Rock is very funny when he's doing that sing-along, and when The Rock... No, let me rephrase, I'm sorry. When Austin did that sing-along, it says, Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. That was very funny. Of course, McMahon didn't like it. Of course, it was part of the storyline, and he was part of the Alliance. But that was awesome. But I really, hopefully, I'd like to see Austin have one more match. Now, if you have not seen Austin's newest, I don't know if it's newest, but his latest, or whatever, but he has a YouTube channel, and he was, I think someone asked him on Twitter, or something like that, how is his knees doing, his neck, and they're doing very fine. So, I am just thinking off my top of my head, I'd like to see a match between these two great athletes again, to make more history. Would you guys like to see that? Or would you like to see Austin versus Punk? Or Austin versus Brock Lesnar? Now, speaking of Austin and Brock Lesnar, the reason that match never happened back in the day because Austin walked out of the WWE. He took his ball and ran it. But everyone knows the story. Now, I think that would be a great storyline. Austin versus Brock Lesnar. But we all know that Brock Lesnar signed a one-year deal. Now, maybe, just maybe, Brock Lesnar might act stupid again and just leave the company like he did at WrestleMania 20. Get everyone the finger. It was very dumb. Of course, if you have the original copy of WrestleMania 20, it won't be blurred out. But if you have the re-evaluation of WrestleMania 20, I think they blur it out because it's not TV 14, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know where we're going to go with this. If Austin's going to face Brock Lesnar, The Rock again, or Punk. I'd like to see him with a different opponent. CM Punk. Now, I think Punk could turn heel just like that, and Austin could just stay as a face and just stun the hell out of CM Punk. I like CM Punk, but I was a more Austin fan than a Punk fan, I grew up in the Austin era, when he was in WWF, in WWE, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't follow Austin when he was in ECW or WCW. I didn't until they made DVDs of his career. That's just how I am. I follow one company, and that's how I am. But this is a terrific rivalry. Austin, The Rock, one of the best besides Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels. But that was back in the early 90s, you know what I'm saying? But nothing could compare to this great storyline, Great storyline. But that's just my opinion, not yours. But I will continue this rivalry soon. If you guys like it, let me know, okay? Everyone, have a good one, and I'll see you guys next video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Later, everyone. I'd love to see this matchup again in the near future, if it could happen. Later, my friends.